Good evening YouTube, this is Captain Machine. It has been a while since my last video, so I truly am sorry about that. Basically I've been quite busy at work, and every time I got home I was either too tired or I couldn't think of something to say. So I've crammed all my ideas into one video, and I've got a little watch down here, just there. So if I'm looking that way, that's what I'm looking at. Tell me whether or not I'm going to go over my 10-minute mark, because I had no idea. I've been talking about editing for such a long time. I need to just buy a stopwatch, really. I also got to my bullet points over here, which is where the blue glow is coming from, it's on screen. And that is going to tell me what I'm going to talk about today. I've got so many subjects, so I'm going to get cracking straight away. First of all, it's 29th of February. Fingers crossed, this will also go out on the 29th of February. Happy Leap Year, everyone, if such a thing exists. Nothing really spectacular for me. No women have walked up to me and proposed to me, so the meaning of the day is largely lost. With regards to gaming per se, it's an on day, just any other day really, but the day itself could have connotations if you wanted to use it for such. Personally, I can think of several Call of Cthulhu adventures off the top of my head where the big bad guy, the big beastie, could only be summoned on the day that's not in the calendar, i.e. 29th. So yes, it's something you can use. If you've got a fantasy setting, I think Forgotten Realms has got a couple of leap years, I'm not quite sure, and there's a couple of other published settings out there that do as well. So yes, again, something big or nasty or horrible or even divine and interesting and good can happen on one of these special days, and there's no harm in having your adventurers or your PCs knee deep in that. Speaking of events, those of you who don't know, there was an earthquake in the UK this week at 1 in the morning, and I felt it. The bed started shaking and I was half asleep when it happened, so I was convinced until the morning that I had just dreamt it, really. No, nothing came crashing down. In fact, if you look around, everything's the same mess it was before. In fact, the fact that everything's in horribly big piles probably saved everything. I only shook for about 3-4 seconds at most. It wasn't that much at all. I do like the fact that when people reported on it, it was a case of, out of all the things that could happen, one bloke broke his hip. Yay. But that just shows that we're not used to it. It was a big water cooler thing, because like I say, no one got hurt, so no one had issues talking about it in any particular way. A couple of chimneys fell over, somebody's roof came through or something, landed on his leg, and he just pushed it off and went to hospital. Nothing really big, mind you, but it got me thinking. Again, earthquakes. Now, earthquakes are, I would usually use them as omens or signs that something's gone horribly, horribly wrong in a game. For example, again, called Cthulhians are a creature which create earthquakes naturally. They just do that as a form of attack or a way of relieving stress. I'm not quite sure. So you could have a major bad guy which can control these things and can tear down buildings using these concentrated earthquakes. Earthquakes in a fantasy setting could be the sign of a god's rage, or the machinations of a really evil cult or thing like that. In a sci-fi game, it could be the fallout of a large explosion or something equally as powerful. And although the PCs don't have to necessarily be in the epicenter of it, knowing what's going on, they will have to deal with the consequences of literally the earth shaking and buildings coming down around their ears and animals panicking and things like that. Especially in a fantasy setting where you don't have earthquake-proof buildings, so things have a whole tendency to come down. If you're playing D&D, I believe there's an earthquake spell. That would be a good guideline. I wouldn't recommend using it because it is ridiculously powerful. So in the D&D world, if you're in an earthquake, you're dead. That's simple. But no, that's a good guideline of what would happen in an earthquake. Now, in my first video, I did talk about the fact that Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay and Dark Heresy, the Warhammer 40,000 roleplay, was dead. I am wrong. So wrong, but I'm happy to be wrong. I really am now. Sorry. I did mention that the popular consensus was a Green Ronin, the guys who did the manuscript for the first Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, would actually take up the license and carry on. We're wrong purely only on the chance that we got the wrong company. Fantasy Flight, who are a fantastic company, produce a lot of good games, including Arkham Horror, the World of Warcraft board game, and several other games which I don't have, so I can't remember them off the top of my head, has taken a license. And they've also taken a license for the CCG as well, which I don't think really sold that well, to be perfectly honest with you. I didn't like it. One look at the cards and went, oh my god, this looks horrible. But that's not the point. The fact of the matter is, that all that panic buying, unnecessary. Granted, it may be a couple of months before a new batch of, let's say, Forges of Nuln, for example, comes out, or any of the other games, but ultimately, yes, the license is alive. They're not planning on doing another edition, thankfully. So yes, it's great fun, fantastic. So I'm really happy about it. I'm stoked about that because I love this game. I am currently playing, or running actually, a Warhammer game based in Stirland with some interactions with Sylvania. I think it's pronounced Sylvania. It may be wrong. Every time I say Sylvania, I think of the Sylvanian family, the little toy rangers, and basically vampires and things like that. So it's lots of good fun. And I've got a website about that, which once I've finished it, I'll link to you, but not until then, because I don't want you looking at work in progress. It looks crap right now. Right, next topic, Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition. Now, I'm going to go on record as saying is I don't mind Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition. In fact, I honestly believe that Wizard Coast made a fantastic idea doing this because it pretty much tapped it dry when it comes to 3rd edition. They had got to the point where they were publishing any old bollocks, and I do mean bollocks. I mean, the rules compendium, for example, was just it's just basically a 15 quid book of errata. Complete Mage, which frankly is just an expansion to Complete Arcane, and Complete Champion, which is another expansion to Complete Divine. They're actually going back to bringing out adventures, which is something they've shied away from for such an awful long time. The Expedition set, Expedition to Ravenloft, which I do have, and we'll be talking about that when I actually talk about Ravenloft, which is going to be, may even end up being another 3-parter. Expedition to Greyhawk, Expedition to Undermountain. Now, I do feel sorry for all those people that bought Eberron, because basically that setting isn't explored anywhere near adequately enough, and you get the impression that Wizard Coast knows this and they've just wound down production to a slow trickle just so they can re-release everything when 4th edition comes out. Now, I personally won't be playing 4th edition. I'll probably pick up the PHB on the off chance that someone else wants to run it, so I know what the rules are. I drop my glasses. I like to fiddle, you see, so I like to have something in my hands, and yeah, I'll do. Right. So yeah. Oh god, my mind's gone blank, and this is going to look horrible because I can't edit that gap out. I haven't got sufficient editing software to do it yet. But no, I'm not upset about the fact that it's 4th edition. In fact, I look forward to it in the fact that it's going to bring a lot of new games in, and I do think that this genre needs a lot of population, and D&D 4th looks like a fantastic way of doing it. When it comes out, I will be buying the PHB, but nothing more than that. I'll probably talk about it then more. But there you go. Right, I'm going to sign off now because I'm rapidly approaching the 10-minute mark. Like I said, the clock's down there, which is what I've been looking at for a couple of minutes now. And I do have another topic in mind, so what I'm going to do is end this video now, saying goodbye. And I will probably be posting another video either tonight or tomorrow on the next topic. Either way, bye bye.